Hello, everybody. This is Stefan Choi. Welcome to Trading with Livevol. This is where I use Livevol X. Oh, looks like I just completed a trade. It's where I use Livevol X to trade on my Reg T account. And basically, it's a way for you guys to see how I use the software and how you can benefit from trading from it. So let's actually jump into my trading account. Just want to tell you guys that I'm having a fantastic day. Well, actually not. You can see I'm down like 4,200, which is quite a bit. Most of it is from ZNGA. Yesterday, I guess I could have hedged some of this, but in the end, I didn't get it off because I was offered at 40, but it only went up to 38 cents. So now it's on a downward move, and I'll cover that a little later. So basically, I came in this morning, and the futures was up. I think it was up like 5 points or something, and I was almost thinking of leaning long because it made this little. So yesterday it started off weak, but the market fought its way back to positive territory by the end of the day. So usually in the past, that kind of meant like we're gonna have it was gonna be bullish, and then this morning started off that way. So I was thinking maybe I'll try to try to lean long on some of these trades, but I was looking at the order flow, and basically all the order flow in the SPY was very negative, and there were way more puts being traded than the calls, which made me not want to lean long. So I basically didn't do anything, even though there was a few stocks I wanted to be long on. So I basically just waited, and it just kept on going down, 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 and down. And I look at that, and I look at the VIX, and it looks like tons of the calls are trading, so people are buying deltas, so they're buying calls. Looks like 81,000 of these calls, of the 97,000 calls that were traded on the offer, were out of the money calls. So people are definitely starting to buy some protection, and you can see the tick chart here of how the VIX has exploded upwards. This will probably explode even more if the market declines quite a bit. So obviously it's never a good time when you're losing money, but like I was saying before, I was leaning long on all of these, and I was hedging it with my VIX call spread. So originally I had 10 in March, then I rolled it into April, and now I have 20 of these. And let me actually talk about that a little bit, because it's actually hedging my whole portfolio, so to speak. So I saw people basically buying the April 16, 26 call spread. So I was piggybacking it. I put up about $2,000, and if this thing goes up 10 bucks, I have a chance to make 18. If I look at my risk chart right here, you can see that if VIX goes back up to around 20 range, I should make between $4,000 and $5,000, and I was using that profit to hedge against my overall position that I had, which was very bullish. And let me show you. So all these stuff, I'm mostly leaning long, and I was pretty bullish. So what I did was I used it to hedge. And right now it looks like the ZNGA is the one that's hurting me the most, because it's falling below 544. So in ZNGA, if I can just cover it real quick, I was long all these calls. You see these calls right here, the April 6th, and I was trying to sell these for 40 cents, but I never got them. So now it looks like it's going to revert back to the 5.5. Now, in the past couple of days, I was showing you guys the skew, and I would use the skew to basically let me know that if the downside volatility is lower than the upside, the skew is actually inverted. So even though this ZNGA is falling, you can see how the April 6 is 59 vol, while the April 5 is only 52 vol. So the skew is still to the upside, and it's getting more drastic as the stock falls. So it's kind of like intermediate pain, but I don't really have a good idea right now what to do, because it's already down quite a bit, so I want to just start adding on to it, and I'm already long. So I think I'm just going to have to be patient and just wait this out, and hopefully it'll bounce back. If not, and I'll show you guys my risk chart right here. So this is my risk going forward. If this thing keeps going down, as you can see, I'll lose another $1,000. So most of my losses right now is built in for today. In fact, if it goes down further, I'll actually start making money. But because I have a lot of premium, every day that goes by, I'm going to lose more and more. So eventually, I would have to make a decision if it stays right here just to sell the calls out. So I reduce the premium and reset it, or I keep it. It's still probably, according to, still bullish. So we should be okay. So you can see the SPX right here, how it's fallen quite a bit. I think everyone's waiting for the 1850 to be some kind of support level. I guess we'll see if it is. If not, maybe like the 1830 range, and then if not, then we'll really go down. But as this goes down, the VIX will also escalate upwards. So let me actually type in the VIX. So you see how this VIX had this huge spike. Basically, if the market goes down further, it'll have another huge spike going up, and it'll take literally almost nothing. Like in a very short time, this can go from 16 to 20 to 25 very quickly. Like in 2008, when I was trading, it literally got up to like 60, 80 pretty fast, and then it stayed there for an extended time, which I don't think that's going to happen this time around. I would be happy if it just went up to maybe 22, and then maybe I can pay for some of the losses I had, or the market bounces back and recovers in the next couple of days. So the VIX is my hedge against my all other position. Right now, I'm in like this dead spot where the VIX, my VIX P&L, like my profit on the VIX hasn't really kicked in, because it's about 600, but it has to be much higher, really. The next like 4 or 5 points on the VIX as well make more money, and then everything else, like ZNGA, you know, I'm leaning long, so it's in the red. One of the things that I do when these things happen, I just kind of replay my days in the past and see, hey, what could I have done to, you know, what is there anything that I could have done and to actually make this loss less? And I think basically selling 50 of those for like 35 cents instead of waiting for 40 would have saved me like 1,200. So if I did everything correctly, instead of losing 44, maybe I would be down 3. But in the end, it is what it is. I just got to do what's best right now. One of the other things I did was I started trading Herbalife. I actually traded this right after I got off the video chat, and then I met with a group of guys. They were great. They had a lot of great questions, and so I noticed that Herbalife had some FTC investigation going on, so I started doing some spread. So March 14, I did March 14, 22 put spread, but I did it for even. And my thinking was that if HLF opened up the next day, I was going to basically own these puts for free. If it opened down, I was just going to buy these back because the risk of it falling even further is great. So like it opens down, then I look at the stats tab, and literally like, it's not as bad now, but in the morning it was all green with people buying puts on the offer. So at that point, I just kind of bought these back, and then I put this spread on the March 14, 57.5, 52.5, 1x2 put spread because I don't think it's going to go down to 52.5. So I want to sell 2 of those. It's protected by my March 50 puts, and then I get this put for cheap. So I did that. I'll see what happens. Most likely, if I am going to make money, I didn't really think I was going to make money today, more like tomorrow, because what will happen in these stocks usually is you'll have this like drop, and then you'll have another drop tomorrow, right? So I thought this was already big enough drop for the day, but who knows? Maybe it'll go down to 55 by the end of the day, just by the way the market is moving. So that's what I have right now in HLF. Originally, I did this put spread, the 45, 55, 57, 50 for even. But then this morning I bought it back. So you see how there's a loser here. So my P&L is down here, and I'm keeping these and seeing what happens. And then I put on this 1x2. So we'll see. Another thing, as I was talking, basically, I think I just got filled on Apple May 110, 130 call spread. Looks like for 1150. So what I did was, as I was telling you guys, I just basically made up my mind that Apple, in the end, was on an uptrend. So I was gonna strategically add call spread as Apple moves. So I'm just gonna keep adding call spreads a little bit at a time. This is my overall premise on Apple, is that it'll go up. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of doing the sideways thing. Like I said, a lot of straddles were being traded. So we'll see what happens. Some buying, some selling, but eventually somebody it'll break out, because one, either the buyers or sellers will run out, and then it'll break towards the side that it's going. Another thing I changed is this RSX. So I haven't talked about this in a while, but basically a lot of these options were being traded where people were selling puts. So I felt kind of comfortable selling them, but it kept on going lower and lower. So today, these March 22 puts, which I rolled down from March 23 puts, I just paid 105 and closed them. I might actually close this too by the end of the day, just because, like, if my premise is wrong, I really don't like keeping my position. If I'm correct, then I don't mind adding to it. But if I'm wrong, I usually don't. Even if I'm like locking in for a bad price, I don't try to like keep the losers too long. If I feel like it's like a coin flip. So if it's as soon as it's a coin flip, then it's not really, to me, then it's like a real gamble. So what's the point of having a position? You might as well just bet on flipping of a coin. So at that point, if I think it's 50-50, I try to close. I definitely close if I feel like the odds are against me. So one of the things that's happening, and I'll go back to my account here, is you see how I'm down 4,500, which is quite a huge amount. So anytime I'm down like this, what you don't want to do, and I had to learn this the hard way many times, is you have to be patient. You can't try to make this back today. This is like you have a baseball game and you're just getting killed in one of the games, and you just have to live with it, right? Don't make it worse than it is. The last thing you want to do is kind of double up when you're losing, and then end up just making the situation worse. What I do is I analyze everything that I have and go back and replay and see if I did the right thing or not. And I'm pretty comfortable with all of it, except maybe I should have sold some Zynga. I think I was a little greedy, and if I did sell it, I wouldn't have lost 2,600. I probably only would have lost 1,400, which means instead of being down 4,100, I would be down $1,500 less. Maybe 25, 26, 2,700 in that range. So I would have been down today anyway, because just because it's in a dead spot. So what will happen is if the market keeps going down, my VIX options will now accelerate, and the calls that I have where I was leaning long, they'll depreciate at a less rate, because they'll be out of the money. They'll have less premium, so I'll start losing less and less as the market continues to go down, but my VIX position will be more and more in the money or long delta position, so I'll make more. So right now I'm like in this like no man's land. So I'll probably be able to make some of the money back if it goes up, or basically if it crashes and I close out some of my longs, but it keeps going down, the VIX should explode to the 20 area, and I can make money that way. Let me see it pull up. I think my internet is a little slow today, but here you go. You see this nice little U. If the market does go down further, you can pretty much count on that this little uptrend will accelerate, and I'll be able to do pretty well on the VIX. Depends on all the other positions I have, how I keep them, or if I don't do anything. So right now that's what I have. The few things I do look for is while this is happening, you see how the VIX is up 1.27, TLT is up 0.86. You see Skull is up, Gold is up, FRX is up, CRE is up, Amazon is up, and ACT is up. So sometimes I kind of keep an eye on the stocks that are not doing as bad, and maybe they might be the ones that do better once the market sell-off stops and we turn back around. So, like I told you guys, I was interested in doing some Skull call spreads, but I think in light of what's happening today, I don't really feel that comfortable adding more to the long position, except the small incremental positions in Apple, the call spreads in Apple that I've decided to put on, no matter where it's at, because I think in the next month or two it'll trade higher. So other than that, where I use this software that was really great was normally without the software, I would actually have bought some calls or would have been really bullish. So just because, just reading at the technicals, all the indication was that we were going to have a pretty bullish day today. So if you don't include this last candle, it looks like we were going to have a pretty good day. Let me actually do 1 hour chart. Seems like it's taking. Okay, so uh, you know, yesterday when we sold off here and then we came all the way back, uh, the chances of it going higher back to this upper range was pretty high in my mind. That's what I was thinking. The reason I didn't buy all these calls, and I'd probably save myself, at least a few $1,000s by using the software, was all the order flow. So, I punch up SPY and I see all these puts being bought, and I wanted to get long, right? But I see all these puts trading on the offer, which made me less willing to go long and go against the order flow. It's not that I have to follow the order flow, but usually I love when confirmation, when whatever decision I make, it's supported with all this confirmation. So one is technical, fundamental, one is volatility, and the other one is order flow. So those four components are pretty important in when I make my trading decisions in terms of what I want to do. So this morning I was pretty bullish. I was thinking it was going to go up. Like you see this uptick. I was going to wait it to go down a little bit down here. Maybe I should blow it up. So it opened up here. I thought it would retrace a little bit and then it'll go up. So this was when I was thinking of buying some calls, but all the order flow was pointing the other way and the VIX was also not going down. So those two factors pretty much made me not buy any calls. So even though I'm having a bad day, I feel okay, just because it could have been a lot worse. So I could have lost another 3,000, which would have been disastrous because it will be self-inflicted, right? But I can take note that, like, hey, I could have maybe trimmed half of this losses if I wasn't so greedy, or thinking like I was going to make and to kind of evaluate your trading neutrally and not be tied up too much with the P&L. So right now, I'm pretty comfortable, even though I'm down $4,000, just because I have these VIX call spread, right? So if I didn't have this call spread, I'll be a little more worried, and I would need it. I would need to hedge. So if I had all this position without this VIX call spread, where I have a possibility of making $18,000 if the market crashes and the VIX explodes, and the maximum I can make is 18 on it, then I would be a lot more nervous. But since it's kind of in a dead spot, I'm just gonna take it easy and not do anything today. The important thing is not to add to this problem. Maybe I might dabble a little bit in more in HLF, just because it looks kind of weak. I know it's funny, I talked to you guys before about HLF, and I was kind of in the camp of Ackman. I don't think they're like a complete fraud, but I think there's some issues, and I think now that they're going to do investigation, at a minimum, I think they're going to force HLF to Herbalife to change the way they maybe recruit or whatever, right? But it's not going to be in favor of them. And I think what people are chattering about is maybe taking this public, which will really take it away from Ackman altogether. But in the end, it's like a battle of titans. We'll see what happens. But for me, I just want to know how I can make money. I wanted to own these puts because I thought we might have a little bounce. So I wanted to own the March 22 puts because I thought maybe there'll be some bounce, but it never, it didn't happen. It just sold off, probably because of the market. But I do think at some point there'll be a lot of support, especially if all these hedge fund guys are already in it. They might actually decide to support this stock. Realistically, this HLF should be much lower, and the IV should be much higher. So let me actually punch it up. You see how this IV30 is only around 66. I mean, it definitely should be in the 90s range, but it isn't. And the stock should be probably in the 50 range, but it's actually it's in the $50 range, but it's probably trading like 57 right now. I think that's because we have so many large hedge funds in it, and they're supporting the stock. So you know, wish I could win every day. I had this idea of like doing pretty well this week, but I think I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to shelf that idea now that I lost 4,000 and kind of figure out how to crawl myself out again going forward. So you know, in the last 6 months or so, you can see how my P&Ls had pretty big upswings. Like from here to down here was pretty painful. But you know, right now it looks like I'm up about 13,700 for the last 6 months, which isn't too bad if I look at the overall picture. The thing you don't want to do is bet when you're losing and have this thing really go down, which kind of what I was doing here. So I don't want to repeat that process. Hopefully I learned, and I'm gonna just kind of take a step back, and while I'm losing, I'm just not gonna add to my issues right now, and hopefully tomorrow I can see some other opportunities that can help me going forward. Other than that, this software is pretty much absolutely amazing software. Like I said, it's invaluable. Even though I'm losing today, I probably would have lost another 3,000 if I didn't have this software, because I was leaning long, and without understanding the order flow, I probably would have added to my long position just because the futures was up today, and it looked like we were going to go up. But if you guys want to try it, go to livevol.com, click on Livevol X, and click on the free trial, and you guys can see for yourself how great a software it is. Other than that, I hope you guys have some puts, so you guys are doing pretty well, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10. Take care and good trading.